Welcome back, everyone. Last episode, we made a portal addition to our mob farm, and that's working really well. As you can see, I have a ton of emeralds and infinite more if I so desire. I set up my smeltery to constantly pump emeralds out into the casting basin, and it'll only pull emeralds out because I made liquefied emerald into the whitelist item. So if I turn off that and add an ingot there, because you need at least an ingot of fluid in order to start damaging the villagers and thus making the emeralds. But if I put an ingot of iron or any old thing in there and turn off the pump, or the pipe that will pipe that out, then I'll basically continue to get infinite emeralds as long as I am spawning villagers, which is pretty cool in my book. Okay, our mining laser has been chugging along, and I just used it to get another storage cluster. Remember, storage clusters make 64K storage cells, which are really, really big. Okay. And each time I make a 64K storage cell, I'm putting it into the system and swapping out one of the smaller cells. And I can then shift right click that to pop out the cell from the housing, and I can use the housing to craft my next storage drive. So I'm slowly upgrading all of my drives because this will allow me to basically store everything I need to between this storage drive block and all my barrels. I will have plenty for everything I'll possibly get, I think. Maybe I will add a couple of item storage drives to this one that I had been using only for fluids. I should also upgrade some of my fluid drives. Potentially. I actually have quite a bit of mob essence and liquid XP stored up, but heck, maybe I want more someday. However, the limiting... Let's see. Yes, sorry. Answering questions about redstone cables. Okay, the limiting factor for expanding the AE system is Certus quartz. Cancel. As you can see, I've got some Certus quartz essence, and that's because I've got my magical crops pumping away at it. But if I were to ask for another storage cluster, I suspect we would go through that quartz essence very quickly. Yeah, it's going to pretty quickly go through that Certus quartz. So, I want to build something else. that will get us ores when we want them. And that is the digital miner. Of course, this is basically the most advanced block in the Mekanism mod. So we need everything else in Mekanism working for us before we can make this. Most of this uses blocks we already have access to. We can make energy tablets. These atomic cores we can make. They're a little expensive, but we can make them. The disassembly cores, oh goodness. They are crazy expensive. Even the obsidian ingots we can make by adding osmium dust to obsidian dust. But the thing that is going to be difficult, well, not difficult, but that we need a new machine for, is this imbued control circuit. For that, we need all the different forms of clumps. And to get those, we need a purification chamber. So the first thing we need to make is a purification chamber. Which, surprise, surprise, requires all sorts of these things. Let's see. We should use our AE system to our advantage. And we'll start by telling our system how to make all this sort of stuff. So actually the most basic thing we need to tell our system how to make is enriched alloy. For that we need 1 redstone and 1 iron. And we get let's go make sure the ratios there are correct. So in the metallurgic infuser, if we put 1 redstone, we get 10 redstone fluid or whatever, and yeah, 1 enriched alloy. Awesome. Now, because of the way the AE system requests items, I'm going to tell it to do this a stack at a time. It will just speed everything up. There we go. Now, if we put that recipe here, oh, heck, I already made that recipe, but less efficient, so that is fine. Now, we will also need pulverized gold, osmium, and I think it was iron. Let's double check. Gold, osmium, iron. Okay. So, to make that, we need to remove gold and iron and osmium from the fuzzy export buses. And we'll have to put them at the precision export buses. Gold dust, osmium dust. iron dust. Sorry, let's see what Rad is saying. He wants to do some interesting stuff with redstone. That I always find challenging. I'm sure there's a super simple answer to what he wants to do, but some of the redstone logic stuff I find a little bit difficult. Okay, so let's put all of these dusts here in the precision export bus. That is going to allow us, much as we did with platinum and tin for Enderium, we can make these with the pulverizer. And not run into a problem. We might actually have an issue with the osmium. That might get turned right into dust. We'll see. Okay, that is a problem. Because we are automatically changing the osmium, so the iron and gold get placed here, but the osmium doesn't. So for the time being, while we're doing this crafting, I'm actually going to make it so that we do not do anything with osmium dust. That means any osmium ore that comes in from our mining laser will get ground down into dust, but then will not be further ground. Or, sorry, will not be smelted into ingots, but that's okay. We shouldn't get that much of it, and we need to be able to get the dust. So, if we take half a stack of each, because again, we are going to overdo this. Oops. So, if you take half a stack of iron ingots, you will get out half a stack of pulverized iron. If you put in half a stack of gold ingots, you will get out half a stack of pulverized gold. And finally, half a stack of osmium becomes half a stack of, you guessed it, osmium dust. Okay, and we can take all these and put them here in the interface with the pulverizer. Great. And finally, we can tell our system how to make this. We just need to make sure we get the exact items right. So we want this to be osmium dust, pulverized iron, and pulverized gold. That was a weird way. That was a weird way to say gold. Okay. Now, using that recipe, we can tell it how to make atomic cores. And I don't know if we have this recipe encoded yet. Let's double check. We do not. So now we can make control circuits. So I believe at this point our system can make everything here except for the enrichment chamber, and it can make everything in the enrichment chamber except for the steel casing, which will require osmium and steel. Again, let's make sure we're using the right steel in the recipe. It should use the OR dictionary to look things up, but I find that the AE system works best if you ensure that you specify the exact version of an item you need. Okay, so I'm going to use a little secret trick. We only ever need to do this once. We don't need to make more than one of these enrichment chambers. So I'm going to take the recipe, add it to the AE system, tell it to make me an enrichment chamber, and then once it's done, okay, cancel these jobs. It's done already. I can actually remove that recipe and clear the pattern. Okay, and I saw that Rad was talking to me. Yeah, so earlier today I was using Opus, which is a mod that allows you to look at server performance and just look at the contributions of various blocks and entities to server lag. I was using that earlier to try and make sure the server wasn't lagging over much. We're reaching about the limits of the server, but that's just because we have more people on than were on previously, and that's fine. I honestly want to have as many people on as the server can handle. Okay, so now we have our enrichment chamber, and I will add that back to the AE system. We can use this same blank pattern to make the recipe for our purification chamber. There we go. I was just waiting for all of these to be control circuits, because that is what we're going to use. There we go. Similarly, I am only going to ever need to use that once. So I will tell it to make the purification chamber. And after it has done that, what? The enrichment chamber is not missing. I have an enrichment chamber right here. Okay. Sometimes I have found that even if you think you have an identical recipe, if you re-encode it using the exact item from your AE system, it will work. So I'm going to cancel that, tell it to make me a purification chamber. Okay, so now it knows it has the enrichment chamber, And that's actually, I think, an issue with Mekanism. Because of the way it stores some of the data on the blocks, like how much energy they have in them, that sort of thing, how many upgrades they have. If you don't put the exact block that you're going to use into the recipe, it won't know what to do. Okay. And now I'm a little bit regretting. Okay, we're fine. I was a little bit regretting I told it to pulverize 32 of the metals because it was taking a while to pulverize all that iron. But we are getting pulverized gold. Which should theoretically should be enough to get the purification chamber going. Oh, except of course it needs a ton of enriched alloy to make all the atomic cores, which requires a ton of osmium dust. And you know what I did? I put the recipe for osmium dust here. And you know what I'm going to do differently? I'm going to put it down here, because my sag mill is much faster. So, if I'm correct, if I cancel this and call for it again, it should take that osmium dust, put it here in the sag mill. Yeah, awesome. Which will go a lot faster and isn't also being used to process gold, so should move at a decent clip. Cool. In the meantime, I noticed while I was looking at that screen that we have a bunch of enchanted gear that came from our mob farm, taking up space in our system. Any items that don't stack end up here in this filing cabinet, and if that one overflows, they'll end up in the one above it. So I periodically go through this filing cabinet, oops, and clean out any items that land here. Any tools or armor that are undamaged end up here in this chest. Or, sorry, filing cabinet. And that's just because I have the damaged ones specifically set to get destroyed. These ones can be smelted down, however, and I like to do that because it gets me a little bit more metal. I don't have a great way, or I have not yet thought of a great way to have that happen because I can't. Okay, so if I use a precision export bus, it will only export the items with the exact enchantment that I tell it to, that I use to specify the bus. But if I use a fuzzy export bus, it will send out any item that is almost the same damage value as the item I specify it with. I might be able to set the split of a fuzzy export bus just right, but anyway, I haven't played around too much with it. These are relatively rare drops, so I generally just manually come and toss them into my smeltery. But I also want to... Oh, the steel armor actually goes just in a furnace and gets smelted down into steel. I also want to look through these enchants, see if there are any I want to take off. Now that our library is done, we can come to the auto disenchanter and toss things in there. Of course, we need books for that. And for books, we need paper. Yeah, okay. Cool. So, when I throw things in here, they will get disenchanted. Let's just grab a chest and a hopper. And we can tell this to automatically completely disenchant everything I throw into it. This will net us a lot of potentially useful and valuable enchantment books. Everything I throw in here will get completely disenchanted, added back to the AE system. It will have been damaged by the disenchanting, so I don't know, conveniently I suppose, it will then get voided. Okay, so I'm guessing... Wow, really? Purification chamber has not yet finished? Huh. Okay, it was just stuck on that osmium dust step. I don't know why exactly. Let's just double check to make sure nothing got backed up here. Nope. Okay. Don't know what happened. But now we have our purification chamber. Let's go upstairs to our mechanism room. Find a place we can put this. I would rather put it here, so let's add a little extra cable here, or conduit for power, and a facade. Now, I am not going to bother automating this purification chamber because it is not something we're going to use a ton. Although, okay, I will automate one aspect of it, and that is... Oh, actually... So this is oxygen gas. Okay, I'm not going to automate it. But, let's see, can I... Yes, I can move a gas tank, place it here. Purification chamber can use oxygen, but it is not connecting automatically. Okay, wait. Let's try this again. If we put this here, and we tell this machine that purple is to the right. Don't know what's wrong. Oh well. Okay, there's one more thing we can try. That is to use their actual pipes, pressurized tube. Steel, glass, okay. So, if we put this over here, put pressurized tube between the two, oops. Still is not working. Okay, one last thing to try is making a lever. Oh goodness, guys, I try to avoid episodes like this, or moments like this even, where I am doing something that I have not previously looked up. Cool. Makes it completely remove its connections. Okay. Well, guys, we have a purification chamber, and if we want to, we can just put flint down here and it will work, but between this episode and next, I will look up how to get this gas tank to add its oxygen into the purification chamber. That will work just as well, and then we don't have to use flint. And next episode, we will begin using this purification chamber to make some of the components we need for the digital miner, which is going to be awesome. Really awesome, I promise you. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.